Hello there. We're going to correct some issues in the 2026 video for tech inspectors because that video is an edit from 2021. The very first thing we need to correct is in the video, you will notice that the engine is sitting on an angle somewhat like this. And that is because there's a bubble level back in the old days that we used, and we're not using that system anymore. The new system is that this angle finder will go on the head at 6 degrees. You want that angle at 6 degrees, okay? I'm not sure what that is there, Donnie, but close enough in regards to my demonstration. And then this angle, that way the engine will be 0 degrees, okay? So 6 this way and 0 degrees this way. I already have my engine mount set up that this is accurate. So everything else in the video that you see is 100% correct in terms of the process for dropping the fluid in and all in the setup for that. I just needed to clarify that the old video demonstrates the engine set at the bubble level inspection, and we no longer use the bubble level inspection. Okay. Number 2, I want to get a more clear picture of profiling the camshaft, because when I did it, my photographer wasn't here and I messed it up. So I want to get a more clear picture of what's going on when you profile the camshaft. First of all, you need your dial indicator set up so that the telescoping leg on that dial indicator is dead center of that push rod. And I always leave the rocker arm attached on the other side so that I can get an idea down in this hole here where that push rod actually sets, because I want that lined up as true as possible across from it. And when you look down in that hole, you'll see the plastic area where that sets. And you want that there's a good picture of the way it's supposed to be. Okay. The other thing is, now next what we have to do is, I'm going to throw this out of whack. The dial indicator's on there. It's sitting on the push rod properly like it's supposed to, in perfect alignment. Okay. And I'm going to rotate the engine through its cycle. Okay. Now I want to set that dial indicator to 0. And right now you'll notice that neither one of these push rods are working. If I have it on the wrong cycle, you'll notice that both of those push rods are working. That isn't the correct cycle. You want it on the cycle where neither one of those push rods are working. That's pretty much close to top dead center. So once I got it set to where neither one of those push rods are working, I'm going to set the dial indicator to 0. Now I'm at 0, okay? I'm going to roll it through the system one time to make sure that it comes back to 0. And it did. So I'm good with that, okay? Now the first checkpoint on the camshaft is the 50 thousandths lift. We're going to check the 50 thousandths lift on the beginning of the cam and the 50 thousandths lift on the closing of the cam. So we're going to roll the engine over in the direction that it travels until the dial indicator reads 50 thousandths on the dial indicator. And right there is 50 thousandths. Looks pretty close there to 50 thousandths. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to come up here at 50 thousandths and set my degree wheel. And you know, when this wasn't set anyplace, I just had the degree wheel on there. So now that I'm at 50 here, I want to set the degree wheel to 0 here. Zero and 50. And again, we're at the opening process of this camshaft. So now we're going to roll the engine, continuation of the way that it runs in the direction that it travels, all the way through the cam. And in the process of going all the way through the cam, we're going to stop the dial indicator at where it stops and read it. And right there is where that dial indicator stops. And it kind of looks like it might be 224. That is max lift. that is allowed in this engine and this camshaft according to the rules. So now we've already checked max lift on this cam at the push rod at 224. We're going to continue to rotate the engine in the direction that it travels. There's 200. There's 150. There's 100. And we're going to stop at the last 50 because that is what we want to check in regards to duration on this camshaft. So what did we do? We'll go down to the degree wheel. We started at 0 and we ended up over here, it looks like about 38 degrees, 39. Okay, so we started there. Well, halfway around there is 180 degrees. So we know we're 180. And then we start counting again. Another 10 is 190. Another 10 is 200. Then we have 210. And then we have 215, 16, 17, 18. 218 is the degrees of travel at the 50,000th lift point from 50 at the start and 50 at the finish. It is allowed to be 223 degrees. So because it falls in at 218 and it's under 223, and I say 223 because it's actually 221, but the rule says you can allow 2 degrees for gauge variances, okay, and wear factor. So I just call it out as 223, all right? So 218 is the number, 223 is what it's allowed to be, and we are legal. All right, so once again, we'll go back here and I'll just do a real quick run through. I'm back to 0, okay? There we go. I'm back to 0, okay? I'm going to rotate the engine in the direction that it travels. Stop at 50. Set my degree wheel to 0. Might get a different number now. That I might not have it right the first time, but 0. Rotating in the direction that it travels, it goes to max lift, 224. It dare be 224. Continue rotating, it goes back 200, 150, 100, and we're going to stop on the 50. And then we simply read the numbers from 0 around. If you do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so on, count your degrees, and you end up at 218. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I cleared it up for you. Thank you and have a great day.